Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hindsight Podcast. This is the episode X of the show. I was struggling to figure out how we're gonna, every time I do the script, I title the document and I say episode 27, episode this, episode that. But today I just said episode X, and that sounds really good because it's Christmas. And I've got to say, it's been a good couple of days. Totally feeling the Christmas. I'm enjoying it. I maybe that's in my head because it's not like there's one money in the account or anything like that. But everywhere I've turned, it's been I've just felt like it's a good time and all that stuff. So great to be back. The hiatus, trust me, it's not our fault, right? I have gone across social media. I've been seeing the comments on Instagram and on YouTube as well. One of the guys, back for the podcast. The positive in all of that is that the fact that you guys miss us is, it makes my heart melt away. On the other hand, Wally actually took our equipment and ran away with his honeymoon. So on that note, I have to welcome everybody to the set. Gentlemen, it's a real pleasure to have you guys back. I'm going to start off with you, Tokwe. Tokwe always looking sharp in the native. We had to bring him back for a final episode before Christmas. How's it going?
Good. Glad to be here. Just in time.
Just in time. Right. Somebody said on Twitter, he said, why is it that Miss Universe always come from Earth? I found it hilarious, man. See, first of all, Twitter is not a real place. Like, the things people come up with on that space is quite incredible. Somebody says that website.
I think for Twitter, if you ever think about scrapping anything social media, I think one of the reasons why I would think, no, you have to leave Twitter alone is that I think no other platform across
cruise.
There's a cruise, but I think Twitter just brings out the creativity in everyone. Yeah. Because from the beginning, obviously, it's just about a couple of characters.
Yeah, 140.
Yeah, so that I have to be on point. I can't go for too long. You can't allow me, so I have to be very creative. So the fact that and I think that's what drives the cruise, because you have to go to the punchline immediately. You can't drag because it's just 140.
Because some of the things you see on Twitter, I mean, they're just you just sit down and you wonder if only this level of creativity was channeled for something very noble, for something very progressive.
Yeah.
It would be incredible. And it boils down to the fact that sorry to say, Nigeria is not going at the speed and the direction that it should be going, because I think we have the best minds around.
Yeah, when we decide to do it, the creativity is there for sure. Trust me. Whether it's in tech, whether it's in entertainment, whether it's in comedy, whether it's in sports, trust me, the creativity is there.
I'm really not sure who wants to talk about that, because that's like
that's a whole different topic.
Let's not start.
But speaking of Twitter, I was when you finish the script for the show, I go online to see the things I have bookmarked, and because the way we create the content is we do not wait till the final day to create the content. So we always try and put little things down. You know how they say the faintest pen or pencil is stronger than the sharpest brain. So I saw this tweet and it said, look, one guy said one of the highlights of his year was driving to the airport with his friend, right? And he was traveling out. I think he was going to Abuja, actually. He was traveling to Abuja, and he said, when he dropped his friend was obviously going to drive the car back. And he told his friend, you see that Corolla with, open the pigeonhole, you see the papers there, the car is yours, right? And he said, till now, the smile on his friend's face still gives him satisfaction. And I thought, that's the most amazing thing I read in December. It's just amazing, isn't it?
It is. Unbelievable.
That's the power of you never hear a story like that if it's not for social media. So that is great. And speaking of highlights, I actually want to start off with that. What is the biggest highlight of the year? And I think we have to, because it's a football podcast, so let's touch back home. What's been the biggest highlight in sports? I think we can say sports, right? Because it will limit it to football might be a bit too narrow. But what's been the biggest highlight this year?
For me, it would be the fans getting back into the stadium.
Was that this year or last year?
No, it was this year.
Right.
It was this year because last season, at the start of the season, the terraces were empty. It was quite frustrating watching football, the imaginary sounds, trying to get fans, with sounds in the stadium. It was good. but it's not the same. But this year, having fans back in the stadium, at the Stretford end, at the Gallowgate end, at the North Bank, the different stadiums, just having fans in the stadium, brought back what football is all about. The energy, the excitement, the passion, the excitement. I see fans, showing so much energy, and on the pitch, you now have to realize that football is nothing without the fans. They say it sounds like a cliche, but football is nothing without the fans.
For real, the football is nothing without the fans. It's funny because now you're speaking about that. I remember a video on Sky, Jeff Shreves. Not Jeff Shreves, sorry. What's his name now? The guy who does the Soccer Saturday is leaving at the end of the season.
Jeff Sterling.
Jeff Sterling, right.
Yeah.
Jeffs. And I think it was an Everton game. I think they were playing a game, and that was the first game Everton fans were back in the stands in the stadium. And I think the game was not going Everton's way, and the fans were already walking out. And he said, 6 months you haven't been in the stadium. And we don't let you guys back in. And you guys are out already. It's like, everyone who left should not be allowed back in, ever. But speaking of the fans, I think it goes without saying, the people that follow the podcast know how mutual the feeling is, when they say, we haven't... my friends sent me a message and said, I've kept refreshing my podcast, platform, and I can't find the podcast. And that gives you a lot of joy. So I think the feeling is mutual to the rest of the guys who listen, the audience, people who watch, who listen, who share. That is just amazing stuff, right? We've tried to do a couple of Instagram lives, but it's not quite like, getting the guys together in the same place, which is why I think that, the creator is so amazing in his wisdom that we're social animals, and there's nothing like being in the same place at the same time, right? This is why I go back to the COVID period where people were doing weddings in their sitting rooms. That could have been horrendous. I'm thinking, imagine doing a wedding in your sitting room and you're there on Zoom. Everybody has to make up. Like, what the heck? I feel to do that kind of wedding. Like what's that? But yeah, people have to make it happen. Speaking of which, shout out to TJ, who is one of the biggest reasons we're making this episode possible, because if TJ wasn't here, normally we have 4 cameras rolling in the background. TJ is the one across 2 cameras, literally 4 cameras. He's got a new intern anyways, but that's a story for another day. So this episode is actually, we're making magic in the real sense of it, because normally you have one person manning all the cameras. So that's great stuff. Right, so everybody's felicitations. I was going to ask you your highlight of the year as well. What's that been?
For me, it's been the transfer window.
That was good.
Yeah,
that's smart thinking. Yeah.
So the 2 greatest players the game has ever seen in football move. No one ever thought Cristiano Ronaldo would come back to Manchester United. We always just thought, one day it will happen, just wishful thinking. Yeah. Then Messi leaving his comfort zone, a place he had been since he was a teenager, I think, or even before he was a teenager.
Yeah.
And then he moved to Paris Saint-Germain. No one saw that coming.
Yeah.
So I think for me that's been the biggest, and something that would echo for years to come. And
Ramos and everybody moving.
Then you mentioned Ramos and the other. But for me, those 2, Ronaldo, Messi, that was gigantic this transfer window. Yeah.
Yep. I think you had a lot of time to think about that, so
I did, and honestly, it's difficult to pick one, because if you look around Nigeria, I think Osimhen moved to Napoli when
that was 2 years ago.
No,
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah,
2 years ago.
But
because he played
his remarkable run started this year. So that's why.
Is that your highlight?
No, that's not the that's not like the. But I'm saying
just checking.
Yeah, I'm saying it's difficult for me to pick one, because I always I feel like I need to break it down. On the home front, honestly, I'll go with Victor Osimhen, and for quite a number of reasons. But from a general point of view, I'll go with Diego Maradona, because Diego Maradona passed on this year.
Was it this year?
No.
That was 2 years ago.
No.
COVID's messed with you. This is
2020.
It's 2021.
It's 2021.
Oh yeah,
Maradona passed on in 2020.
Maradona passed on in 2020. That's true. That's true.
I saw it. I saw it on ESPN that this was a year already. I was like, has it been a year already?
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, Maradona passed away.
I remember talking about it on a show,
right,
on Super Sport, and that was last year.
Yeah.
So
that's the first thing that comes to mind.
So honestly, on the home front, I'll go with Victor Osimhen for that sheer reason. I knew when Victor Osimhen was Charleroi, and then moved.
Charleroi, by the way.
Like that.
than Wolfsburg, right? So I knew. It's almost like, because I know the struggle, like I know what it is to be in that position. In your head, you know that, man, I feel do this and I can do it, but it's not just happening. And then now he's like the biggest guy in Africa, the biggest transfer, and all that. And now he's had his best run this year. But I think on the biggest, whatever stage, I think it will be this man scoring the Champions League winning goal for Chelsea.
Kai Havertz. Yeah.
because and you and I had this conversation. I wasn't so convinced about Kai Havertz moving to Chelsea.
I'm still not convinced.
I felt like
still not.
Yeah, I felt like you don't need this guy. What's the fuss about? He's a good player, no doubt, but I don't see why it's like if we don't get him, then the team
will be wrong.
I don't see that. So, but then he came on, and I can why I'm picking
such a hefty price.
Exactly, and then he came on. So I'm thinking, like, I can understand also what that means for a player. So you are the guy that they wanted to get for £70-something million, and you are 21 or 20, and everybody feels like you don't deserve to make that move, or the team doesn't really need you. Why exactly are they getting you? So I can understand what that means for a player.
Right.
And then you go on and you get the goal that wins them the Champions League in a year where everyone thought they are never going to get close to it. So yeah, I know people are going to say it's because this guy is a Chelsea fan, but
yeah, that's whatever. What it is. It is what it is, right?
No, but you're allowed to.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that.
That's not the reason, but
Yeah, but that's not good as well.
If Arsenal were to win the league, I'll take much beards off.
Right.
Guess
it's really the one I saw with the skin beard.
If it was Arsenal winning the Champions League,
I'll take my beards off.
No. If it was Arsenal,
probably do the show in my underwear. It would be stuff of dreams, man.
If it was Arsenal winning the Champions League,
right,
and a guy in a similar story getting a winning goal, I think I would have picked the same guy.
I'll tell you
as
who's
my highlight of the year.
I'll tell you a little story. It's not a story, basically. It's a hypothesis. Hypothesis, yeah, that's the right thing. The last time a club legend was fired mid-season and a German was hired.
I beg.
Stop this.
I beg.
And the German was hired.
Premium tears.
You know they did the same thing with Chelsea last season. And he said the last time, I can't remember what the conspiracy was.
This is what I'm telling you about.
Wait now. I can't remember what the conspiracy was. He said the last time Chelsea won the FA Cup and the Champions League. So Chelsea fans went into the FA Cup final against Leicester with so much confidence.
Yuri Tillemans!
I tell you what, look, I'm only on to that start like me. Right, so hopefully it happens. But speaking of highlights of the year, right? As far as sports go, I'm quite lucky because I had a lot of time to think about this. You had to go first, you went second, you went third, right? I think it was. We've done the podcast. The idea has been there. We've done it, for about 2 years. This year is the one time I think we did 20 episodes on the bounce. And I think that is.
I think we can toast to that.
I think we can toast to that, right? We can toast to that. Cheers, man. Cheers. Because I felt like, cheers, man. I feel like we. There were months we were going to Maryland to go record and all that stuff.
I remember
it was crazy to
get. And it was crazy for Luckily, Luckily was coming from.
I think Ajah at the time,
crazy.
We would link up at my bus stop, from crazy. There. We'll have a drive down. Looking back, a bit of fun inside as well.
So the day where it be like saying, boys, don't get one kind.
Slight change. You understand? Someone else say you came from nowhere. But no, I think the highlight is being able to record, find that level of consistency. For whatever reason, we couldn't do it a couple of years ago, but now we have that consistency, and I think we also have to say shout out to Clout as well. The studio, it's the state-of-the-art facility, one of the best you can find in this part of the world. Giving us the space. Shouts to Dotun Kayode as well, Energy Guard. He really put us on as far as this goes, right? And that is amazing because for a space like this, to get the consistency we get and the people that come work with us all the time, TJ, Henry, this is supposed to be the closing credit, but I think I need to say it now. It's amazing, the lady, what's her name, that gets our cups ready,
Rose.
Amazing, Rose. So shout out to everybody. But yeah, that's my highlight, right? To get this podcast going. So let's get into it.
All right, guys. I'm a man that needs no introduction on this show. It remains the Hindsight Podcast. When it comes to talking sport, when it comes to talking football all around the world, you get the best information from this particular podcast. You can always join us online, on YouTube, on IG, anywhere online. You can always join. Even on Clubhouse, we're there for you to dish you the best information when it comes to sports all around the world. Stay tuned always.